I turned 72 last spring, and something strange happened. For the first time in my life, nobody was waiting for me. No one needed dinner on time. No one needed a ride. No one needed advice. No one needed fixing. The house was quiet, and in that quiet, I heard a sentence I hadn't heard in decades. Not from someone else, from myself. And it terrified me, because it sounded like a stranger. When I was a little girl, my grandmother used to tell me something every Sunday afternoon while we washed dishes together. She would pause, look out the window, and say softly, "Don't live only for what is urgent." I never understood it. Life is urgent. Bills are urgent. Children are urgent. Problems are urgent. What else is there? I used to laugh and say, "What else should we live for?" And she'd smile in that sad way older people do when they know something you don't. At 19, I wanted to be an architect. I loved drawing buildings. Not pretty ones. Strong ones. Structures that lasted. I got accepted into a program in another city. It felt like a doorway into a bigger life. But that same summer, my father got sick. My mother needed help. My younger siblings were still in school. So I stayed. Because someone had to. And I told myself, it's temporary. Temporary has a funny way of becoming permanent. My father recovered. But by then, I had a job. And a boyfriend. And a routine. And stability. And leaving now would be irresponsible. So I stayed again. Not because I was forced, because it made sense. And life built itself from there. Marriage, children, mortgages, responsibilities, endless responsibilities. I became dependable. The one who didn't fall apart. The one who held things together. The one who sacrificed without complaining. People admired that. They called me strong, selfless, reliable, and I wore those words like medals. Whenever I felt that quiet ache inside, that whisper asking, "What about you?" I silenced it, because there were more important things. There was always something urgent, a sick child, a financial problem, a family crisis, a leaking roof, a struggling spouse, a parent aging. There was always something that needed me more than my own dreams did. Years passed, then decades, and slowly, without anyone noticing, I stopped asking myself what I wanted. Not because I didn't care, but because wanting felt selfish. And urgency always won. My children grew up. They became successful, independent, confident. People would tell me, "You did everything right," and I believed them, because from the outside, my life looked complete. But completeness and fulfillment are not the same thing. And nobody tells you that. At 61, my husband retired, and for the first time, the pace of life slowed. No more daily chaos. No more constant problem solving. No more urgency. And that's when something unexpected happened. Without urgency, there was space. And in that space, questions appeared. Questions I had buried for 40 years. One evening, my granddaughter was doing homework at the table. She looked up and asked me, "Grandma, what did you want to be when you were young?" Such a simple question. I smiled, ready to give a light answer. And then I realized I didn't know. Not because I never had an answer, but because I had lived so long without it. It had faded into silence. That night, I couldn't sleep, and I remembered my grandmother, standing at the sink, looking out the window, saying, "Don't live only for what is urgent." She wasn't talking about work, or chores, or responsibilities. She was talking about survival, the trap of living only for what demands attention now, while abandoning what gives life meaning later. I had lived an urgent life, a necessary life, a respected life, but not a chosen one. 2 years ago, my son said something that broke me, not intentionally. He said, "Mom, you've always been there for everyone, but I don't think I've ever seen you excited about something that was just yours." And he was right. I had been present in everyone's story, but absent from my own. I realized then I hadn't lost my dreams in one dramatic moment. I had traded them, quietly, for urgency, over and over, year after year, choice after reasonable choice, until there was nothing left to choose. I'm 72 now, and last month, I signed up for a beginner's architecture workshop. My hands tremble when I draw. My lines aren't steady. My ideas are slow. But for the first time, I am not living only for what is urgent. I am living for what is mine. If you are young, urgency will scream at you every day. If you are in the middle of life, urgency will disguise itself as responsibility. If you are older, urgency will leave, and what remains will be you, or the absence of you. So listen to someone who almost disappeared without noticing. Don't live only for what is urgent. Make space for what is meaningful. Protect it, even if it feels small, even if it feels selfish. Because one day, urgency fades, and the question that remains is simple. Did you live a life that was needed, or a life that was yours? My grandmother warned me. It took me 70 years to understand. I hope it doesn't take you that long.